are here. We just cut the music off, but we're here on a 58th episode of BasedCast. We changed the episode name recently. We are now BasedCast. So glad to be here, guys. How you guys feeling?
Oh, it's been a good day. I'm gonna hang out with you guys. We're gonna talk about what the heck is going on in the world right now. There's a lot of strange things. And I'm glad to have Sean on because he's got an absolutely different and amazing perspective that I love hearing from.
Yeah, Sean, how's it going, man?
Positively smashing. I'm here and ready with you guys to talk about some stuff.
Yeah, man. Well, we're glad to have you here today. Micah, you're on the show today. How was the debate? I know we watched the debate the other day.
The debate, I was disappointed. I was super disappointed with the fact that everyone is talking about Israel and Ukraine and not talking about America. Right. It's almost like we have foreign lobbies who are putting forth their own agenda above America's.
Perish the thought, Micah.
I know. Wild.
Well, I really wanted to ask Sean because we had the show about the debate, but did you see the debate at all? Hear about Dick Cheney and 3-inch heels?
I did not hear about that.
Okay.
But
man, you missed it. So
probably
basically, Vivek Ramaswamy called Nikki Haley Dick Cheney and 3-inch heels because she's the old 2004 type candidate. She'd be perfect for that time.
What is it with this Vivek Ramaswamy guy, man?
Not really sure at this point.
That's one of the things that we have probably the most problem with. We love his rhetoric.
Right.
We love what he's saying, but where did he come from?
But who backs him?
That's a really good question as well.
I heard he used to be on a WEF page as like being one of the future leaders, World Economic Forum.
Who knows? Maybe the globalists are trying to take over conservative space. Infiltrate and destroy.
Well, we're not sure. We're here to figure it out and create a discourse to, get closer to the truth. And that's what we're going to discuss today. Sean's going to give us his insight on some conspiracies because that's what he does. Sean, you didn't bring your tinfoil hat today.
Oh, contraire. But I did.
There you are.
He
is ready to go.
He's ready.
Time.
He is ready. Awesome. Well, let's get into the show today. Glad to be here. Well, we've made it, and we're here. Sean, your tinfoil hat is looking amazing.
Hey, thanks.
Where'd you get it?
Actually, it was gifted to me by my great-grandfather. I'm just kidding. I made it.
That's great. Well, our intern is out tonight, so if there's any technical difficulties, blame her.
She has been up to a lot of shenanigans recently. Any glitch that happens... Shenanigans, yeah. Any glitch that happens, her fault.
Got it.
And even if I say something wrong, also her fault. She gave me the wrong script.
The teleprompter is broken. If
happens.
You say the wrong thing, the teleprompter is broken.
Teleprompter was giving me the wrong words.
Doesn't mean anything.
Boys, we only say what we're told to say. It's all scripted.
It really is.
Operation Mockingbird.
So
that's an interesting thing to get into. We could totally go down that rabbit trail.
That's insane.
Is the news actually scripted?
Yeah.
Is there the 4 a.m. drops saying, hey, this is our narrative right now?
It could very well be. But first thing I want to share with you guys today is we have a UFC fighter. He's calling out Epstein client list.
Really?
Yes. So let's play this quick clip here.
Oh, yeah. Here we go.
All right. Sorry, we're getting some distractions here from the crowd. Homeboy got a shirt that says Trump was indicted before anyone on Epstein's client list.
100% based.
Very, very based.
That guy's got that BD energy.
What are you looking at there, Sean?
How could you tell?
I mean, I was told by a friend.
Well, anyways, I love UFC fighters, and here's the
Me
reason.
too.
is they're not constrained like NFL players, NHL players, MLB players, because I guarantee you there's probably a lot of non-woke professional athletes that would speak out against corrupt things going on in the establishment. But UFC fighters always speak out against it. They're always very based. Like Sean Strickland, he's one of my favorites. He even talks about women not being able to vote. He talks about just, crazy, outlandish things that just make you go like, what? Maybe I should think about that. But, he's basically calling it out, and Dana White won't really do anything. But
that's because
good
Dana
for this
White
guy.
doesn't care. I mean, he probably wants to know why people on Epstein's client list haven't been indicted.
Yeah. Well, so does Congress. So Marsha Blackburn is actually investigating into this. And this isn't the first time this guy has said some crazy stuff. He came out a couple years ago and said, basically calling all of Hollywood total pedos.
For real.
What do you know about what's the validity of the conspiracy hat, Sean? What's the validity of pedos in Hollywood?
Man, I don't think it's just Hollywood, man. I think that some of the halls of this government might be compromised as well.
Are they beating up children and taking their adrenochrome?
More than likely. I mean, it seems pretty outlandish, but they really tried to squash Pizzagate really, really hard. I'm just saying. And
thank you to Julian Assange.
Yeah.
For releasing all that information.
Absolutely. That's why he's being held on for 127 years. Is that what he's looking at?
Something like that. Word on the street says there's going to be some new Julian Assange stuff coming out. Not like there's like an interview coming out with him. I might have been with Tucker Carlson. I may be wrong.
100% think he needs to be released. I really think they need to release him. They liked him whenever they could use his agenda against the opposing political party. But then all of a sudden he's a danger and a terrorist. So they had to put him in prison and shut him up.
Well, like I said a moment ago, Senator Marsha Blackburn is investigating.
That's awesome.
Yeah, good for her. Well, if she's not suicidal, Marsha needs to be added to a disclaimer that she is not suicidal. Everyone's commenting she did not kill herself.
I really don't think she should fly in a plane either.
No, she shouldn't. But I love what Roseanne Barr says here. I will miss her.
Oh, my God.
I will miss her. I would definitely miss her, too.
She's not wrong.
Well, I mean,
hey, do you remember the Panama Papers?
Yeah.
When it released all of those people that it showed 100% irrefutable that they were hiding their money offshore so they didn't have to pay taxes. The only thing that happened was that went away, and the chick that released all that information, it's funny, but her car blew up. Isn't that weird with her in it?
Our globalist, powerful elites can't survive with a little light shown on them.
Exactly.
That's one of the biggest problems. So they have to Epstein, anyone who speaks out against them, because if anyone starts thinking, hey, maybe there's a powerful entity that controls the world and controls our information, controls
Preach
our...
on, Brother Micah.
Yeah, that's one of the biggest problems, is they have to operate in that darkness. That's why the Clinton body count keeps on rising, because how can she have a strong political career if people knew what they're actually up to?
Exactly.
If people knew the corruption that was going on, especially with like Hunter Biden and the Biden crime family, then we would see just how corrupt our system is. Because I know we asked this question a little earlier, because even Vivek on the debate stage, he was talking about where is Biden's loyalty? He took some money from Ukraine, and now we send them $200 billion.
Weird. So weird. I can't figure out why we would send them a whole bunch of money. Maybe Zelensky might have helped launder some of that money from those guys, along with that FTX guy. Maybe that's connected. Maybe Sam Bankman-Fried, really?
Number 2 donator to the Democrat Party.
Wow.
Yeah, it's almost like things are connecting.
Who's number 1, Micah?
El George Soros.
Micah.
That's a Spanish name.
God, I love it. El George Soros.
Oh,
the man.
hang on, guys. Is somebody trying to take my tinfoil hat here?
I give the floor back to you. Tell us about him.
No, I'm just saying that's...
I remember like a couple years ago when like you would say George Soros, people were like, who?
Thank you.
Now his name has definitely become more mainstream, and people, it's not a conspiracy theory to say that George Soros funds, communist Marxist movements in the United States.
I agree 100%, 100%. He looks like a Bond villain when you look at him. But the thing is, he's visible. So maybe he's just the fall guy for a whole bunch of shenanigans where the people that are really doing the controlling, we don't know their names. I mean, it's probably Lucifer is the head, but I'm saying these other guys that are in control, we have no idea who they are. And they've got this guy, this Bond villain, out here in front of us, man. And everybody, oh, let's hate George Soros. Dude, he's done some evil things, though.
He funds lots of DAs and district attorneys in the state or in the country.
He bragged about, like, when he was working with the Nazis in World War II, he bragged about going and showing the Nazis.
They
have been watered down. They have been watered down.
Sorry, we're not going to hate on the Jews or the Muslims. We're going to hate on the Christians tonight because they're kind of weak. Yeah. And not weak. I would just say lukewarm and don't really have a touch of,
So a lot of them are misguided. I mean, a lot of them are misguided. I mean, you hear the Bible talking about false prophets my children will know the sound of my voice.
Yeah, get that cat in there.
False prophets, and it's like we're pointing out false prophets, and people aren't listening. I mean, I don't know what else to tell them. It's like, man, you see this crazy stuff going on, and they try to explain it away, and they gaslight people so hard. But if they look in their Bible, it talks about some of the things that are going on here: wars, rumors of wars, pestilence. I mean, come on, dude. It's the 4 horsemen.
I think that's interesting to say that it is the 4 horsemen. I'm not sure if I
don't think it's the apocalypse,
okay,
man. But it just seems there are a lot of elements going on here. It's like those Sabbatai and Frankus. They're trying to force God's hand by doing this false. It's not false flags. It's really happening, but it's artificially started through lies. I mean, maybe I'm crazy, but tinfoil hat, man. I'm just thinking here.
But going back to Christianity, the biggest red flag I look for when I go to a church is the fog machines. If they've got fog machines, I usually just go right on out. I'm just like, not my church.
That's probably a good idea.
Because we played a video a while back on one of our shows, Sean, where a church had a whole setup, and the dude played as Iron Man. And I think I might have sent you this video, but the dude was playing as Iron Man, and he is being, what is he?
Crucified. He's
being crucified as Christ, and they hang him, and then he wakes up, and they're like, oh my God, and it's like Iron Man. So the dude dresses up as Iron Man.
What?
To send a message about Jesus. And it's like they spend all these money on these type of resources. It's like, it's just ridiculous. It's so theatrical, and it's not enough scripture teaching and teaching what it's like to be an actual Christian.
That sounds pretty crazy.
Yeah.
It is pretty weird to see. And we do see even the gospel being watered down and Christians becoming lukewarm. But I think there's more nefarious things. I'm going to go back to what you said a little bit earlier about the church not worrying about what the government's doing, and then the government almost sets itself up as the enemy of the church.
Yeah.
I like to bring up this example all the time of the farmers in Russia in the early turn of the century wasn't caring about what was going on in Moscow when the Bolsheviks were taking over, and then they turned on... Yes. And so that's the same thing about Christianity is, we don't care about what's going on in Washington, D.C. right now while they sharpen their knives against us.
Yeah.
And to me, that's one of the biggest problems that we see with the church right now is its eyes have been closed. And do you know the tax exemption that churches have? Was it
501c3.
501c, yeah, it's 501c3. That makes the church ineffective.
It makes it susceptible to the government. They say, well, you're going to say this, or we're going to take away your tax exempt status.
Yeah, I know that got put on hold for a while, but that's been in place for a long time. If you can change a church's culture for 20 years,
thank you.
And then they'll learn that it's a muzzle because, I guess every other church doesn't talk about politics. I guess I shouldn't either. It trains people to, I know it got removed, but like I said, it trains people not to talk about politics in church, and then the status quo then becomes Christians are ineffective. And
100%, man.
aren't able to go after the real problems in society, which is most of them are pushed on by the government.
Tyranny is what it is. It's what Christians fail to call out in most cases. I mean,
you know, it's funny. It's funny you talk about tyranny, man. You just it flipped a switch in my head. It's like whenever a tyrannical government and a totalitarian leader takes over, what's one of the first things they do? They destroy the church. They destroy any religious systems. The state is your religion now. You have no God but the state, because that they know that God's power is higher than the state, and they can't have that.
do you think Christianity, like the everyday Christian and modern day Christianity, is rooted in strong enough law, like, to run society? And do they have enough stronghold on the community to, like, make a difference? I mean, like, they do good things,
Yeah,
but can you influence culture in a positive way?
that's a real good question. I
Because you see Christians oftentimes, they're more like retreat from political action.
Yeah,
they don't
turn
really
the
get
other cheek.
involved into it. So then you just let moralist people that don't follow Christ, get in charge. And then it's like you have people with completely different viewpoints. And we see a system that calls out, white people. They teach people to hate white people. And
Right.
they teach people to hate Christianity, and there's this massive protection of Judaism and all these other things.
Yeah, I mean, I think in order for Christians to come together to have a brain enough to run things, they're first going to have to get over their own differences. I mean, you've got Methodist churches, Baptist churches, Pentecostal churches, Assembly of God churches. You've got Lutheran churches. It's like, but they're all reading the same Bible, but it's some human's interpretation of said Bible, and so they've made a whole sect to follow this. I don't know why we all can't just agree and follow God as one people. And then, man, can you imagine how powerful that would be if everybody?
Because I have to sell my ideas and make money.
Yeah,
That's pretty good. Here's one of the biggest things, and I actually think that you guys already kind of came across the answer. So there are 45,000 denominations of Christianity.
what?
45,000
Which one are you?
Catholic.
There's only one.
There's only one, yeah.
That's what I'm thinking. Like, it makes sense. Like, why people are Catholic. It's like there's just one way.
There's one Catholic,
Yeah,
but there's 45,000
Different
different ways to
Protestant.
be a Christian.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Yeah,
What?
and that's one of the things is everyone talks about how do we reunify people. It's underneath one umbrella. Like, I'm not, like, that's the whole thing is I love Protestants. I love that they love God, but the same thing is how do you change culture? Well, it's been around for 2,000 years. It's the thing that created Italy. It's the thing that created basically the Western world.
Right.
That is the answer to a lot of the world's woes. Is you need a strong paternal church, not a church that is a mother to you. And that's what I think the antidote is almost a paternal figure, a masculine force in the world that doesn't care about the people's emotions, doesn't care about what is deemed right in culture, but what it does is care about what is truly right, what is the actual way. And that's one of the reasons why
Interesting.
that's one of the big things. We go back to the Roman Empire. Do you know the Roman Empire was represented by the sun?
Yeah.
The sun is masculine energy. And if you go to a lot of the Middle Eastern countries, they're all represented by the moon. A lot of feminine countries. And a lot of people think that the Roman Empire was so effective and was able to build so many roads and bridges and was the number one in science, culture, art,
Right.
because they were led by a paternal masculine sun energy. That was their virtues and their ideals.
Interesting. That's very interesting.
Do you think there is anything to that? Like Zane or Sean, do you think that energy, like that type of energy, like a masculine force, a structure that is led by men, is the answer and the way that we move forward as a society?
Honestly, yeah. I mean, I'm not trying to be a misogynist, but bro,
exalting women to their proper role is not misogyny.
So then that really just takes us to, Sean, should women vote?
Yes, they should.
Now, if a woman wasn't holding a gun to your head.
That's a good question.
What was life like in the 1950s? It's just crazy to see. I mean, when you look at polls of children from Gen Z to the 1950s, when you ask questions like, have you had a girlfriend in high school? The number slowly declines.
Hey, where's your dad?
Have you, having having a father, all these things that strong America participated in, young kids aren't doing nowadays. We're so disconnected, and
Yep.
You see the massive rise in fatherlessness problems. But the statistics on single-family homes is insane, because people that have single-family homes are more likely to, end up poor, end up homeless, end up with all types of problems.
Right.
And I think having a strong masculine figure and a strong feministic figure in the home is the real key to success, to creating strong people ready for the world.
Like, one of the biggest differences that I can see is back in the day, in the 50s, like, one income could take care of a whole household and still have enough money to go on vacation. I mean, there were many more jobs, and there were many better jobs that paid better than they do today. Yes, the wage was smaller, but the gap between how much the Federal Reserve says it's worth, I mean, it was like $1 was $1, and it was a lot. And today, I mean, one income almost doesn't do it. I mean, thanks to the feminist movement for that, I guess.
You're going into oncoming traffic. Just go ahead, step out.
As an indigenous person,
Miss Perry? Am I?
I'm non-binary.
No, we're not doing it. We're not going to play along with your stupid games of non-binary, all the other ones, all the LGBTQ,
Yep.
IA plus. I'm not saying that
100%.
they don't have sexual proclivities towards other things, but when you start saying, no, I am a queer, I am non-binary, no, I am whatever it may be.
Clip it.
It could be as simple as what my guy Alex Jones said. They're putting the atrazine in the water. It's making the freaking frogs gay. Just saying. Dropping testosterone levels, rising estrogen levels, dude.
And that's my whole thought. What I was saying earlier about the masculine society. The masculine society can only be destroyed when men are feminized.
Yep.
The no that I was talking about earlier only exists when men are strong.
Yep.
The soy drinking, the I don't know, plastic using men who are, should I use it, cucked. They are the problem, and they are the result of the system in which whatever powers that be are trying to force upon us.
100%. They are trying to feminize society, because in order for the New World Order to happen, they're going to have to come up against some testosterone lacking soy boys instead of based testosterone filled big dick energy dudes that say no, and they say, no, you're not going to do this. We love America, and we're not going to let this happen. So you got these other guys that are like, oh my God, as long as I can get my Soylent and read my Reddit, I'll totally do it.
Oh, yeah, if we're safe, because the vaccine is safe. But yeah, you want a society of highly agreeable men.
Yeah.
I would prefer a society of highly disagreeable men.
Yes, sir.
They tend to be the entrepreneurial type, go-getter, create new ideas, come up with new ways and solutions to do things in life. And that's what we need more of.
100%.
We need less of the thinker, more of the doer, and someone that's going to, go out and change and innovate the industry that they're in. That's what it's all about. And you just create the common worker that wants to go work for the system. And they just, they go to these universities and they learn abstract information and then they get into the workforce at 24, 25, 26, sometimes even 27, 28 if they get a master's.
Yep.
And they're not even getting any real world experience till they're in their mid-20s.
Right.
So, we're not really preparing kids to the practical education, the practical habits that are conducted in the everyday workforce for children. It's just, the trades and the nitty-gritty physical labor jobs are what make the world go round. And, you create children that don't even know how to, they don't know how to fix their car. They don't know how to really do anything. You're just creating a society so complex where everything is outsourced. Our your mechanics, your food, everything. You can't produce anything. You're just literally a corporate slave.
Corporate slave
is essentially what you are. So, do you like that?
I do think
being a corporate slave.
I know they're trying. That's the whole idea. Make us consumers, not actually producers. And I think that is a nefarious trend that we're going to. I don't think it's just an accident that America's turned into just a service industry country. Someone stripped the manufacturing jobs out of America.
Yes,
somebody got rid of them. You could say, oh, it's just a natural progression of moving. No, but who's the one who actually got rid of the factories?
Clinton and NAFTA. At the same time, then you also had underneath Obama the TPPP. Yep.
You have that where then we can just import Chinese junk across
sir.
our borders, put out American businesses. I've been watching a wide range of people use different apps like Temu as well as Alibaba and different things like that where they're buying cheap stuff off of China.
Well, as a guitar player, I can tell you this: the Chinese are very good at replicating things. And I've actually held in my hand, I used to own one. It was a Gibson guitar. It was a Gibson, but it was made in China. But if you look at it and turn over the headstock, it's got a legit serial number, and it says made in the USA. But they only cost like $200 or $300 as opposed to $1,200 to $2,500. And people ship them in here all the time. There's nothing on them that says they're made in China. It's literally stamped made in USA. Talk about ruining a business.
We do see that type of stuff be pushed into American stores. And I think part of it is that weakening of America. If we can destroy our economy, destroy the middle class, make people into, for all intents and purposes, socialists, then they can take away everything from us. If we no longer produce and we then rely fully on the government and our institutions, how do we break free from the control if they control everything? Like, for example, right now, I could be Alex Jones and debanked.
Right.
They could take everything away from me right now if I start going too hard, start calling out the wrong people.
But they won't debank Jeffrey Epstein.
Nope.
Not at all.
I'd like to see that client list. I'd really like to see that client list, see who's on it. I wonder if some of the same people that were implicated in the Panama Papers would be on this said client list.
Not really sure at this point, but want to go out to a report that came just a few moments ago, about 2 hours ago. According to this leading report, President candidate Ron DeSantis' biggest donor is now planning to financially support Donald Trump in the presidency. So Ron DeSantis is losing his biggest donor.
Oh,
and yeah, look at that. That's great.
Who's it? Is it Ken Griffin from Citadel, or?
I believe so.
Okay.
If you want to look it up, that'd be great.
I'll find out, because if it's the hedge funds that are trying, like, moving their money, that's interesting to know, because they're the actual.
That's very interesting.
Yeah, so I'm gonna pull it up right now and find out. So what is your thoughts about that, Sean? Do you think that it is? Is it worrying that Donald Trump is now being backed by big money?
Yeah, I mean, man, it's like this. There might actually be some people out there that have money that want to see America stay America. They might have an interest in it. I don't know. But I know that all of these lawsuits that Trump have been indicted in, I really believe that was just to knock down his capital. They're going to make him financially broken because they're trying to get him all wrapped up with these court dates and these indictments so that he can't go out and campaign. And what's with this putting gag orders on him? No, man, this is Banana Republic levels of corruption. I mean, how can they silence the front-running candidate against the current administration? I mean, seriously? Is this Venezuela? Bruh.
Gotta love the checkerboard legislation system we've got. They don't go after the actual criminals, the actual crime and tyranny that goes on in this country.
Exactly.
I mean, the man faces over 700 years.
For nothing.
For absolutely nothing. And, you know, that not a single person on the client list has been sought after, or, you know, it's just ridiculous. And I think most people are waking up to see just how corrupt everything really is.
And that's going to be a glorious day when they finally all see.
But the question is, Sean, are people really supposed to wake up?
That's a really, really good question. Are there actually NPCs that aren't supposed to wake up?
I think Mike is an NPC.
That is actually a really interesting thing. Have you ever been to Walmart at the first of the month?
100%.
Right when welfare checks go out?
Yes, I have.
You look around and say, these people are not real. Like, this has to be a product of the Matrix, because there's some characters you're like, these are all just bots. I don't even think they have thoughts going on.
They walk around like they don't, like they're just autonomous drones, just dead behind the eyes, man.
Yeah, so I also found out who DeSantis' biggest backer
Who
was.
is he?
Robert Bigelow.
Dude, the Skinwalker Ranch Robert Bigelow?
Might be. I don't know.
I guarantee.
Let's find out if he's Skinwalker Ranch.
He used to own it. He sold it to another guy.
Oh, okay. I thought you were saying like he was the guy.
No, he doesn't own it now. He sold it to another investor guy, but he used to own it.
Okay, that is pretty interesting because I know he's the number one guy who just pulled out and is now supporting Donald Trump.
Fire.
It should be interesting to see because you've got money moving around, you've got people, places, things all happening. Donald Trump's campaign is really kicking into second gear right now, as well as you've got all these trials taking place, and I think that we're primed for a really interesting 2024, and I'm super excited for it because we're going to be reporting live with all these different fun events. Like, let's say next year Donald Trump gets arrested. Do you think that's not going to be the most interesting stream that we have? We're going to be covering so many different amazing things that it's going to be going down in America. I'm not speaking for all Q people, but there is an element of the future proves the past. And part of that is that perhaps Donald Trump isn't all that we think he is, but he actually is the savior of America. Like I said, this is a pretty popular thought.
All right, you're gonna have to slow down before we get labeled a Q show.
I know.
It's funny.
Where we go one, we go all, brothers.
I mean, it's funny you say that. But
Stand back and stand by.
All right, you're fired.
The Catholic Church, I read somewhere, man, I can't even remember, don't ask me where, but I read somewhere that the Catholic Church has this relic that can see back in time. Like, they used this relic and they looked back and saw the crucifixion of Jesus. Okay, after this information got out, they took this thing and hid it. I'm sure it's in the archives, but I know that they have something like that too.
Do you think there is an element of what we mentioned earlier, the conspiracy idea of Mockingbird, in which we see something like Indiana Jones, where they're hiding the Ark of the Covenant? And do you think there's an element of them hiding? What is this thing called that the Catholic Church is able to look through the past?
I don't know. It's some relic or some text or something like that. Somebody built some seeing, scrying thing where they could see in the future and they could see in the past.
How much truth do you think there is to that? Because I know a lot of people will talk about how the Nazis were obsessed with the occult.
Yeah.
And they were looking for hidden powers in different places. That they're looking for, I don't even know what they would call it, like ancient iniquities that would help them with power and with seeing the future. And like, have you guys ever seen I believe the movie The Men Who Stare at Goats?
Yeah.
Where there is sometimes an element of there is sometimes an element of truth to what we see in the media.
Yeah. Yeah. I've seen, like, when COVID was going on, and even before COVID was going on, I saw Project Mockingbird in action, where this guy superimposed like 20 or 30 newscasters, and they're all sitting there saying the exact same thing. He syncs them up, and you can hear them all saying the exact same lines. They are given a script, that the local news or whatever, they're given a script to say as far as national things are concerned.
Are you talking about the 4 a.m. drops?
The 4 a.m. drops.
That is a pretty interesting thing, because there is that video. I believe it goes like, "This is a great threat to our democracy."
Yeah, I mean, yeah, that's the one that I'm talking about.
Yeah.
Where they just keep saying it, and they all say it at once. It's strange.
Yeah, I'll see if I can find that video, because it is really almost chilling.
It is bone chilling.
Yeah, where they all keep, "This is the biggest threat to our democracy. This is the greatest threat to our democracy." And
100%.
everyone says it all in unison.
The newscasters keep saying it.
Yeah, didn't Elon Musk also like retweet that?
I think he did. I think he called out Operation Mockingbird, but even the CIA have admitted it. I mean, there are CIA former, quote unquote, former CIA agents that have admitted that it's a thing, and they were the ones providing the news station's information. But how real is that?
That is interesting. Do you think, why were they priming the American people for that?
Jessica Headley.
And I'm Ryan Wolf.
Our greatest responsibility is to serve our
Treasure Valley communities,
the El Paso, Las Cruces communities,
Eastern Iowa communities,
Mid-Michigan communities.
We are extremely proud of the quality, balanced journalism that CBS 4 News produces.
But
we are concerned about the trouble and trend of irresponsible, one-sided news stories plaguing our country.
The sharing of biased and false news has become all too common on social media. More alarming, some media outlets publish these same fake stories without checking facts first.
The sharing of biased and false
news has become all too common on social media.
More alarming, some media outlets publish these same fake stories without checking facts first.
Unfortunately, some members of the media use their platforms to push their own personal bias and agenda to control exactly what people think. And this is extremely dangerous to our democracy.
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 This is
extremely dangerous to our democracy.
That is extremely fucking creepy. Pardon my French, but my goodness, that gives me
I love
chills.
news talkers where they're just like, "This is extremely dangerous to our democracy." Like, it's just so scripted. Let's put on 4 pounds of makeup and look pretty on TV to, speak words that you didn't even create.
And people say that I'm crazy for pointing this out, that you're crazy for pointing this out, but it's right there.
Crazy. We're the tinfoil hat wearing crazy. That's why we got the tinfoil hat. Everything we say is conspiracy. Don't believe us. We're white. We're not worth a damn.
100%.
I hate white people.
They're the worst.
We're just terrible. Now imagine if I interchange those words.
Yeah. How's that not racism?
A black man calls me, you're white. Or, what I'm saying? I mean, not to say that that's what represents most people. It's a fringe minority again. But
it is.
Yeah, that's where we're at. Where we're becoming slowly becoming the victims.
Why?
That's a good question. Maybe we're the only ones that think about this kind of stuff and are a threat to their plans, so they got to demonize us.
It is interesting because we've seen mass migration, and we've seen I believe, Zane, what did you call it? Third world behavior in the third world behavior in America. We're watching people come across the border, break laws, use up the American social welfare system, and then tax the American taxpayers. Like, it's super taxing to our infrastructure, our roads. How many hotels have been basically all paid for 7 to 14 million immigrants?
Yep.
So much. The American taxpayers paying for all this. Why? Why is the government so hell-bent on mass immigration and the demonization of white people?
Because this country has to fall for a new world order to happen.
Because we are looking for a great reset.
You will eat the bugs.
You will eat the bugs. It's all about, corporate interest, government interest, non-governmental organizations and intelligence agencies working together to some sort of agenda. It's not very clear to us, but there's something higher up doing something.
100%.
And you gotta create a weak society, and you can't have a strong country with diversity. It's just the facts.
Give me my soy mocha
you can be
latte,
diverse.
thank
You can have people come over here, and you can have lawful immigration, and I think you can have a diverse crowd, but you have to have the same ideas and the same want for the country as far as like capitalism and holding up strong moral values and having strong cultural values, not being gay and transgender and anti-family, anti-nuclear family. You've got to have strongness, and that's what a lot of this attack is. It's just attacking solid behavior that moves forward working class people, and it takes power away from elites when we're in this position.
The nuclear family, the father, the mother, the children. They incentivize single mothership. I mean, they will pay